Reddit Stories Number 1.
Growing up in an Asian family, man, I got some stories. The gist of it was Christian private schooling, calc extra school after school, set prep, and I got to watch 30 minutes of monitored TV for every hour of piano that I practiced. The TV has parental control settings and my parents literally blocked Disney Channel, Nick, and Cartoon Network, so I would pretty much watch PBs. No sleepovers ever. I was not allowed to go anywhere without a parent until I was 18. No cell phone until I was 18. No shorts or tight clothing, and church 3x a week, youth group, Bible study, and then actually church. Worst part is they made me go to the services on Sundays, and the first was always in Chinese. I didn't understand Chinese. We stopped getting Christmas and birthday gifts after we all hit about 10 years old. Didn't realize until much later that the smell on my dead-ass breath was Heineken. He had major anger issues and physically hurt us a few times, but my brother, multiple times. It got to the point where he literally ran away, like bought a train ticket to another state, while in high school. The one instance that stands out the most was on Christmas. They got in a fight while we were looking at Christmas lights in the car. My brother was in the back seat of our 3-row van and my dad was driving. My dad eventually gets so pissed that he climbs out of the driver's seat while the car is still going and starts climbing towards my brother and literally choking him. My sister is just holding me while I am crying, and luckily my mom grabbed control of the wheel. I don't know if I blocked the memories out of my head, but I never knew this stuff wasn't normal, and I forget it happens sometimes. The worst part was mainly the mental abuse. High expectations, quick tempers, and verbally degrading language. To sum it up, I am older and on my own now, and my mom is visiting and actually told me today that she is sorry for the mental trauma and abuse we have suffered. She pretty much also alluded to the fact that my dad is still mentally abusive towards her today, despite now being a pastor who has turned his life around, and it breaks my heart. I feel sad for her. My mom can also be a bit paranoid. Every time I have a job interview in a public place, she makes me text her the company info because she thinks I am going to be duped into sex trafficking. I get why this may be a valid concern, but they're usually in the daytime around multiple people in the actual workplace. Just a note, I live in the US. Let my parents stay at my condo while I was out of town once, and they made copies of my keys without asking and keep showing up randomly throughout their month-long trip. They are causing me major anxiety, but I am just trying to ignore it until they go. Welp, this is all normal behavior to them. I definitely still struggle with my self-esteem, but I am getting better every day.
Reddit Stories Number 2.
I was permanently banned from doing PE after the first term of my first year in secondary school. Eventually they decided I'd spend it in the library. I loved it, got all my homework done during those periods, and got to read a bunch. Librarian loved finding a kid who enjoyed reading, asked if I wanted to be one of the people to read a bunch of books to vote on as part of a Best New Year Book Awards thing. Most people she gave a book at a time. I got a backpack at once, so heavy I could hardly move it. She knew I read fast. All the readers, voters got to go to the little award ceremony and meet the winning author. There was a girl my age who was in the opposite half of the year, so I never had classes with her. She had been given the whole stack of books at once as well, was a bookworm as well. We'd read a bunch of the same books. One of the authors we talk about we actually got to meet together twice after leaving school. Our casual friendship started then at 11, then got much closer when finally sharing a class at 16. After sixth form we stayed in touch, went paintballing. Only girls, rest of the friends about 10 guys. Bonded even more shooting people and each other. Went to bars as teens, shopping trips, theme parks, book signings. Have had so many adventures. I'll be 31 soon, and she is still gonna be someone I celebrated with her, and two others are my closest circle, who have all been with me through so much. So many people walk away because having multiple chronic illnesses means I am not always as fun as I used to be, or more can't have fun in the same ways as I did. I've lost family and had the stress of loved ones being seriously ill. My best friends never act like it as a burden to deal with me. They listen to me vent, and I listen to them. I got very lucky. Oh, one of that three says the first time he met me when we were 14 he thought I was scary because he saw me having an argument with a school bully, a guy who was around 6 foot already. He thought I must be a badass because I wouldn't back down or be intimidated. In reality I wasn't fearless or strong, just angry and kinda dumb, and was getting really sick at that point of being bullied.
Reddit Stories Number 3.
When I was 8 years old, I was playing wall ball with a bunch of neighborhood kids and I accidentally knocked the ball in the next door neighbor's backyard. Being the one who did it, everyone wanted me to retrieve it. Okay, no problem. So I jumped the fence only to realize the ball landed right in the middle of their pool. This was a problem because it was full and the pool had a cover on it. For some reason my 8-year-old brain thought I would be able to walk on this covered pool. I step onto the cover, on the deep end mind you, and immediately I become tangled in this cover, thrashing and flailing, which only makes me more tangled. I could hear all the kids screaming on the other side of the fence to help me, but no one came. This pool cover was so wrapped around me it's now pulling me under completely. I was drowning and could feel the life leaving my body. Even though it was probably 50 degrees outside, I felt so warm, like standing next to a fire. My vision became blurry and I thought, this is it. I don't know how to this day, but all of a sudden I became free and swam out on my own. I sat on the cold concrete and collected myself for a minute and then jumped back over the fence, leaving the ball altogether. All my friends at the time were gone. This was the last time I spoke to any of those kids. I ran home and hugged my mom so hard. She asked me why I was wet and I made up some lie and acted like everything was normal. I didn't think anymore about this until I was in my 20s, and now I think about it all the time. I'm 32. I can't go into pools at all now, and I am also terrified of the ocean. I am not religious in the slightest, but something intervened that day. I am so thankful that the only thing that died that day were the 3 Digimon Digifs that were in my pocket. I am so thankful that I am still here to hug my 2 beautiful children.